Of the Wild West.
Let's go.
Yeah.
It's your boy Tristan.
It's your boy Kyle.
Travis.
And this is your host, Carlos. We're finally here, you guys. We are in the divisional round. And also, we're going to break down the Hangry Polar recaps. Also doing the Slammin' and Jammin' Encore. Also, one of our favorite shows that we're going to be doing, it's
Who's Hot
and
Who's Not.
And also, Driz and Lowe's Players of the Week. All right, well, let's go ahead and give a quick pause and thank our following sponsors.
Well, I don't know about you folks, but here at Sportsfellas, things can get, well, a nice right funk going on sometimes. And in that time of need, we turn to our friend Kimberly Sampson, our own personal Cincy independent consultant. She is our favorite star consultant, so for your scent needs, get a hold of Kimberly at heavenlyscentswithkim@gmail.com or visit her website, heavenlyscentswithkim.cincy.us. You can also call her at 316-282-7363. That's Kimberly Sampson at Cincy, our favorite independent consultant. Hey guys, it's your old pal Chris with a K here, giving a shout out to some of those unsung heroes in the entertainment industry, DJs, and we've got a great one for you. Spin It Again Entertainment, doing weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, music events, photo booths with backdrops and dancing on the clouds. Check them out at Linktree Spin It Again Entertainment. Their phone number 316-617-3281. That's Spin It Again Entertainment. Check them out for all your entertainment needs.
On over to the NHL, the Hangry Polar recaps. Let's break it down right now. In the Eastern Conference, in the Atlantic, we still have the Boston Bruins in first place, the Toronto Maple Leafs in second. In the Metro Division, we have the Carolina Hurricanes. In second place, we have the New Jersey Devils. Moving on over to the Western Conference, in the Central, we have the Dallas Stars in first place. In second place, we have the Winnipeg Jets. In the Pacific, we have the Las Vegas Golden Knights and the Seattle Kraken. All right, stay tuned, and we'll keep breaking down in the NHL. On our new show here, the Slammin' and Jammin' Encore, brought to you by Superstar Sports. We're going to be diving in the NBA playoffs down the stretch and also during the season. So, in the meantime, let's go ahead and break down and how the standings are working. In the Eastern, we have Boston Celtics in first place currently. Second place, we have the Milwaukee Bucks. And third, we have the Brooklyn Nets. On over to the Western Conference, we have the Denver Nuggets in first place. And Memphis, technically, they're tied in first place, but in second place is Memphis Grizzlies. And third place, we have the New Orleans Pelicans. We are here, fellas. This is it, the divisional round. Let's go ahead and give a little recap of what has happened. We had the Jacksonville Jaguars upsetting the Los Angeles Chargers. Travis, talk to us. Talk to us about that. That's what happened. You guys left the building.
Yeah.
All right. So I don't blame you. Also, another upset. We had the New York Giants, the G-Men, defeating the Minnesota Vikings. Sent them home. No, well, they stayed home. And now they're going to watch the game at home. Moving on over to the Cincinnati Bengals, defeating their AFC North rivals in the Baltimore Ravens. And the Dallas Cowboys, America's team, defeating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, so let's go ahead and kick it off first with the Saturday game. We have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Chiefs Kingdom, baby.
Going against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, you guys, well, it's pretty simple here. Mahomes has been pretty just great going into the playoffs. I mean, going in, he's been there and done that. This is Trevor Lawrence's first appearance now second game, but first appearance in the divisional round. So looking at where we're going, Kansas City has been to, how many times, Tristan, they've been to the AFC Championship?
So like the past 5 years.
Yes, just current.
4 years in a row so far.
4 years in a row. And Jacksonville has not been to an AFC Championship since when?
2017, 2018, something like that.
With Blake Bortles, and then also before in 1999. So it's been a long time. So let's go ahead. Let's pick apart a little bit on this game. Let's start this off with you, Tristan. Let's look at the strengths here. So we know. Let's look on the Kansas City side. Experience. Coaching has plenty of experience. What are you going to be looking at in the game plan for this Saturday?
I think mostly it's going to be trying to get pressure on Trevor Lawrence, because if we give Trevor Lawrence all the time in the world, he's going to make his reads. He's going to do good. So we need Chris Jones, Karlaftis, everybody on the D-line to step up. And also focusing on Travis Etienne, because he can be a monster. and I feel like he's dangerous. I'm not too. If we can get pressure on Lawrence, I'm not too worried about the receivers. I have enough faith in our DBs to lock them up because they're not the best. Christian Kirk did have a good last drive, and he did pretty good, but I don't think he's that good. So I think we can definitely lock him up.
Well, the other thing is, relative to coaching experience, Doug Peterson's won a Super Bowl too. It's not like he's a stranger to the dance. Granted, it's a different situation than he was in Philadelphia. Something that I think he's going to look to target is the Chiefs' defensive backs, not necessarily through the air, though, with wide zone running schemes and stretches and tosses, because that's how they got back into it, especially on that 4th and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Not to bring up any sore spots here, Travis, but Asante Samuel Jr. is not a good open field tackler.
No, he's not. He's more coverage.
Yeah, and they knew that. So when they ran that toss on 4th and 1, they went right at him. Of course, he wasn't there to make the play. So for the Chiefs' defense, it's not necessarily making a lot of big plays, but it's making the plays that you're supposed to make. Make the tackles that you're supposed to make. Don't let them break tackles. Don't let them shake you loose or anything like that. If they can do that, the offense will take care of itself.
Yeah, I mean, this game, it's going to come down to who can control the passing game the most, I feel like, with Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence. Obviously, the Chargers did amazing in the first half controlling Lawrence, but then obviously did not show up in the second half. But I feel like Kansas City, I feel like they'll give Trevor Lawrence a big beating on the pass game, controlling him a bunch. They're going to have to rely on Travis Etienne, like you said, Cal. But then, yeah, I mean, Jacksonville's defense, they also do have to show up. They can't let any mistakes happen, letting Mahomes drive and score on some easy possessions. If they do get some, they just got to stay physical with the Chiefs' offense.
Those are good points. And the thing is that Jacksonville, they let the game go against the Chargers. I just thought the game was going to be over. And, yes, give kudos to them for coming back the second half. But that's not going to happen at Arrowhead, not in Kansas City. What's going to happen is that Mahomes, it's going to be, first of all, it's going to be in the trenches. And for Kansas City, literally, they're just going to do is pull out all stops. I mean, now McKinnon's been able to get more reps in. I mean, Pacheco has taken a step back a little bit in his reps. Am I right?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit. And, of course, you got Travis Kelce. Then you got to worry about Juju. And then at the end of the day, Mahomes is going to do is dissect their defense and try to find a way to exploit them. And then just if they start going on a scoring spree and Jacksonville has to play from behind, it's not going to be the same thing like they did with the Chargers. Now, moving over to the Jacksonville side, we have already Trevor Lawrence, which I did a little digging here. He is undefeated in primetime Saturday games. It's pretty good. I'm going all the way back since high school. And so, I mean, I'm not going to compare high school to Arrowhead, but let's just say that with the additions of, like you say, Christian Kirk and Zay Jones and then Ingram, they've got a not bad crew going in. I mean, the thing is, the Chiefs, you can beat them. You can beat them in their secondary. They're beatable. And also, if you can establish the run and stay consistent and wear and tear that front line, you just got to make sure that pass rush, because the pass rush that the Chiefs have, it can get dangerous. Especially if they're on a roll, it could be dangerous here. So what do you see Jacksonville possibly doing against the defense, Tristan?
Well, I mean, taking advantage of our – Spagnuolo's very aggressive, likes playing one-on-one and sending blitzes. That's why we got beat so deep so many times this year. It's always one-on-one because we put a rookie against an experienced receiver. It's tough. It's tough for them. So, they got more experience, but I still don't trust them in that, man-to-man coverage, really. So I feel like, of course, read the defense. If you see that, Christian Kirk's on a go route. Throw it to him. Probably be open. That ain't going to win him the game, though. Chiefs' offense is too explosive. It's too crazy. Alaire's back, by the way. He was activated off IR, and so I don't know how many reps he's going to take, but I feel like they should just put him on the bench. Say, hey man, take it easy. We got this. Pacheco and McKinnon got it.
And it'll go back to what I was saying earlier with the Chiefs' defense is make the plays you're supposed to make. Be disciplined when you're in zone. Don't let your guy beat you in man. Make the plays you're supposed to make. Don't try and play hero ball. Don't try and jump a double move route, when you think he's breaking out and then he beats you and Trevor Lawrence makes the easiest throw of his life. But what's going to be different for Jacksonville compared to last week is the edge pressure that they faced against the Chargers with Bosa and Mack. It's not necessarily going to be the star power on the outside of the line this week. It's going to be Chris Jones coming up the middle, which makes it more difficult for Lawrence to maneuver the pocket when it collapses from the inside, and you can't necessarily step up right into Chris Jones's arms. So look for them to be doing a lot of quick hitting routes, trying beating them short, slants, ends, a lot of mesh concepts like kind of West Coast style that Doug Peterson likes to use so often. Look for Trevor Lawrence to use his legs to beat that almost not non-existent but less significant edge pressure to get outside offensively for Jacksonville.
Yeah, Jacksonville, they just got to target their main receivers, Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. I mean, you paid them to come and play Christian Kirk $70 million. So, I mean, you got to use that to your advantage. And, I mean, he will make the plays if you can get him open. And, I mean, they're just going to have to target the deep zones and stuff, attack the Chiefs where it hurts them the most, which is the deep ball. But, yeah, I mean, yeah.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's pick our conclusion here. So, Kansas City or Jacksonville? Tristan, go ahead.
Oh, it's definitely Kansas City, man. How are you going to stop Kansas City?
Kansas City in a shootout.
I'll give it to Kansas City.
I'll take Kansas City, but my heart goes out to Jacksonville. So, okay, all Kansas City. Moving on over to a NFC East showdown. The New York Giants, the G-Men, going against the Eagle Fly, and the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, so this is pretty interesting. So at the first two meetings, I take it the Eagles swept the Giants this year, I believe, in their meetings. Now it's round 3. So, Tristan, pretty much here we've got Danny Dimes, Saquon, back in a playoff picture under the new coach, going against the Philadelphia Eagles that are reamped. They went to the playoffs last year but lost to Tampa Bay. What do you see going down for the Giants? What is their success if they're going to win?
Well, it's their success. It leads on Daniel Jones because he's been playing stellar this year, and he looked great last week. I love the way he played, and, of course, Saquon, throw him in there. They're just doing a lot this year. Man, they're carrying the team on their back, and, so it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to have to give it to the Eagles this week. But it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a dog fight. I'll tell you that because it's a divisional game again for the third time in a row, and the Giants have a lot to look forward to because I think nobody saw him coming this far. But definitely Daniel Jones is gonna have the same performance as he did last week, and Saquon. I feel like they should manage the clock because getting Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown on the field, that's not gonna be good for them because Jalen Hurts is that dual threat. He can run it, he can pass it, and having him on the field is just a no-go. So I feel like they should focus heavily on the run this week with Saquon.
Yeah, and I mean, shout out to Brian Dable, Coach of the Year candidate in my books. This season came way out of left field. He's got Daniel Jones playing at close to his max potential, I think. And you've seen flashes of what he can do. That being said, we all kind of know Minnesota's defense is one of the worst in the league. It was the worst defense. And by that I mean it was one of the better teams record-wise, but it was the worst defense of those best teams, if that makes any sense. So I don't think Daniel Jones will have the same kind of success against Philadelphia because you've got receivers like Richie James Jr. and Darius Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins, who aren't necessarily household names, going up against a much better secondary and more or less a elite cornerback. Darius Slay Jr. It's going to be a tougher matchup. They're going to have to lean a lot more on Saquon this week, and Nick Sirianni in his own right, a younger head coach with his first team. It's going to be a different experience for both of them. But Philadelphia is they're just the better team is what it's going to boil down to.
Yeah, I mean, this game is going to come down to how well the Giants can control the ball this game, controlling the run game, keeping the clock on your end and not on the Eagles to go down and score with Jalen Hurts. Using Matt Breida, too, not only just Saquon. If they are controlling Saquon, put Matt Breida in, use him. I mean, he didn't do too bad. He had 2 third down runs to get first downs, kind of help keep the game going for them on their drives. But, yeah, I mean, this is going to come down to how well they can control the clock.
Well put, you guys. I mean, you guys nailed it to the dot. So let's go ahead. Let's move on over to the Philadelphia side. So pretty much Philadelphia, They had the best record in the league, right? Or they tied with the Chiefs.
They were
best
tied
record.
with the Chiefs.
Okay, so on the NFC side, the best record. And the thing is wow, I mean, the addition of A.J. Brown really changed the schematics of their offense. And also the reception hookup that they have between Hurts and A.J. is just tremendous. But now let's focus on the Eagles side. So they're at home. Tristan, what is going to be their success to try to win this game?
I feel like just keep doing what you've been doing all year, man. They have a great, phenomenal team. And when you look back on it, I feel like they had more strengths than cons, and they just played tremendously, man. Like, look for A.J. Brown. He's going to be open somewhere. If you don't see A.J. Brown, they're getting pressure on you, just scramble, run the ball 10 yards, get a first down, whatever, because you have all the players in every spot to do it. You know, they have a good defense as well. So just continue playing how you've been playing.
I'm going to continue to focus on the Eagles' defense. That linebacker group that they've got has got to play some of their best football this week that they've played all year. It's the area of their defense that's got the least amount of names. I can't even think of one off the top of my head, but they're a solid group because they're going to have to tackle very well. They're going to have to keep Saquon in check. And the Giants' passing game predominantly resides over the middle of the field where they'll be patrolling, trying to keep those guys in check. And offensively, A.J. Brown changes the whole game compared to where they were a year ago when you know you can send him on a go route and 50% of the time at least he's coming down with the ball. And that opens things up for Devonta Smith and Dallas Goedert and then Miles Sanders in the passing game. They've just got weapons, and they've got more than I think New York is going to be able to handle.
Yeah, I mean, this game for the Eagles, it'll come down to the passing game. I feel like I know Jalen Hurts can run all that, but I mean, overall, I feel like they're gonna have to force the ball to A.J. Brown, and especially Dallas Goedert. The Giants gave up 10 catches over 100 yards to Hawkinson last week, so I mean, forcing it to the tight end might be useful this week. Getting them on their weak side on their defense, throwing it to the tight end. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna have to probably play the passing game more this week than usual.
All right, so that wraps it up on here. So, Tristan, who are you taking?
Taking the Eagles, man.
I'm going to take the Eagles as well.
I'm going Eagles.
Going Eagles as well. All right, moving on over. This is a very interesting battle here. We have the Cincinnati Bengals going against the Buffalo Bills. This is pretty interesting. So Cincinnati and Buffalo has been here and done that. Now it's in a different time now because now they're going to be facing off each other. So let's go ahead and start it off with you, Tristan. What is going to be the success for Cincinnati to defeat the Buffalo Bills?
Their DB's got to step up, man. They have a tough match this week. You know, of course, with Josh Allen throwing that ball, and then Stephon Diggs. You know, they just got a great receiving core. So, and their pass-heavy team, focus on that. You know, whatever the pass, and especially that deep ball because that's dangerous. Yeah, they really got to step up this week because last week they didn't look too hot when the ball was thrown because, of course, Baltimore's more of a run-heavy team, man. But, yeah, that's what I think they should look out for this week.
The Bengals' defense is consistently underrated. They are one of the top 10 units in the league, but no one ever wants to talk about that because they got Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow. The run game for Buffalo will be important, but I don't think it's going to show up very much because Cincinnati's defense is going to shut that down. I think you can not necessarily dismiss the way that they played last week against Baltimore, the Bengals defensive unit, because they had just played them the week before. It'd be the third time playing them. You play somebody that much, especially when you play them that close together, the team that loses those matchups makes great adjustments week to week, while the team that won doesn't necessarily have to. So how much stock you put into the defensive performance last week is questionable for me. And then you just got to rely on your guys on offense. Sometimes people will think it's the not as significant players that need to step up. I think for Cincinnati, it's a lot more important for the guys to play like the guys. Jamar Chase to have over 100 yards, more than 7 catches. Joe Mixon needs to get close to 100 on the ground for me. And this Bills defense is injured. They're missing DeMar Hamlin. Prayers up for him. Hoping he gets better soon. And then Von Miller's obviously been out. So it's not the same defense that Buffalo had at the beginning of the year.
For Cincinnati, it's going to be their defensive line for me, I think. Making sure that Josh Allen stays uncomfortable all game long. Because whenever you make him uncomfortable, I mean, when he throws that ball, when he forces it, sometimes he doesn't do the greatest thing and throws interceptions like he did last week against Miami. So, you got to keep him uncomfortable and make him make some bad decisions on the throws. But, yeah.
When I observed the game, the Buffalo and Miami game, Buffalo looked like they were in control, and gradually they were losing it, and Miami was picking them apart. Cincinnati's a better team than Miami. And another point that Kyle said was interesting when he was talking about the players that need to step up. Well, the insignificant players, the players that don't get a lot of reps, like Tyler Boyd, the other running back, Perrin, those guys going to have to step up. The tight end, everybody, it's all hands on deck with Cincinnati if they're going to beat Buffalo. Because right now, it's Buffalo. They're at home. They're the talk of the town. Everybody's got them favorite to going in against Kansas City. So are you going to get disrespected like that, Cincinnati? Are you really going to let just these people just say, oh, well, you're just kind of in the way. This is meant for them. No, you guys were in the Super Bowl last year. You guys could have won that game. And we all know that because they're lying. But, I mean, this is an experienced team. Buffalo has not been there yet. And the thing is that Cincinnati's got all the cards in their deck that they can use, especially Burrow. If they can keep – it's Oliver, right? Brandon Oliver? Is that his name?
Ed Oliver.
Ed Oliver, yeah. If you can keep Ed Oliver at bay, and they're fortunate. They are fortunate that Von Miller's not there. And because, I mean, I'm telling you, that would have been a force to be reckoned with. And then on the other side, to get at Buffalo, to get at Buffalo's defense, Miami's already proven to you, beat them in the air. Beat them. And then if they want to challenge, that's the way to go. I mean, so right now, Cincinnati has a better air attack. And then their run scheme, once they're on a roll, especially with Mixon going in, and then they can control the clock. So let's move on over to the Buffalo side. Tristan, what do you got Buffalo doing to take out the Cincinnati Bengals?
Well, of course, that they need to step up and put pressure on Burrow. And that would help. And their line, of course, it has improvements. I feel like it's not the best. They still struggle. And, of course, Ed Oliver can take advantage of that. But it's more offensively because I think offensively Bills got the better pass game. Last week, last week, the Bengals did not have a very good performance, whether that was passing, rushing, I feel like what really saved them was that 98-yard fumble return. They should have lost, in my opinion, but, it is what it is. Now, as for the Bills, they controlled the game in every single aspect. 316 passing yards, 107 rushing yards, 423 total yards. Of course, the time of possession. What killed them were the turnovers, and and the Dolphins. Congrats on doing that. But so since he needs to focus on making turnovers, because it seems Josh Allen's very good at that towards the second half. He likes to turn the ball over, and as long as Josh Allen can keep the ball in his hands, as long as he doesn't fumble, as long as he doesn't make stupid mistakes, because he's a good quarterback, I feel like they should have no problem winning this game. Their defense is good. I feel like their defense is just as good as the Ravens. Maybe not with those two elite corners, but they can hold up against Chase and Boyd and Higgins. So I think it's just the offense. Keep that passing game going because as good as Cincinnati's defense is, I feel like they're not good enough to stop Diggs.
For Buffalo, it's execute your game plan. Sean McDermott is a really good head coach. They're going to have a really good plan going into this game. Some people might say, Josh Allen needs to take care of the ball better. I agree with your sentiment, but that's not how Josh Allen plays. It's a bit Favre-ish, hero ball, gunslinger kind of attitude that he's got, and that's what I love about Josh Allen. Keep that going, man, because if you don't do that and you try and tell him to take care of the ball, he's not going to take the chances and maybe attempt the throws that only his arm and that strength can do to Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs and Dawson Knox. But the real player here is, if he has a good game, Buffalo's got the best chance to win, is Devin Singletary or any running back for Buffalo for that matter. The one knock I've had on Buffalo since they've become a winning team is your lack of a run game outside of Josh Allen scrambling or the design runs. If your running back can get 60, 70 yards on his own and get the 3rd and 1s, the 3rd and 2s, the 3rd and 3s, those conversions, you can get them on the ground, that opens up your passing game a lot more. People don't buy the play action when you can't run the ball. So if you can run the ball at least at an average pace, you will win the game if you're Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo's offense, they need to be more above Cincinnati's. Targeting Dawson Knox, Gabe Davis, use your not so big names unlike Stephon Diggs. I feel like Stephon Diggs is going to be a little bit shut down this weekend against Cincinnati's defense. I think that Cincinnati's going to try and force it to make it so where Josh Allen's going to have to throw to other targets besides Stephon more. And I feel like Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox are going to be two guys that they're just going to have to target more and make bigger plays for them.
Those are great points, both of you guys. I got to hand it to you. What came to my mind is, and then I'm going to allude what Driston said here. When you were mixing the throwback quarterbacks, I see definitely the gunslinging in Brett Favre. He's got that Brett Favre thing going on. He's got the John Elway statue thing going on. But one of those key things he reminds me of the 95 Steve Young. He's got that Steve Young, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep going. And back to the weapons that you have, you got Cole Beasley that came back. What an awesome slot receiver to have. I mean, Dawson Knox, of course, he's starting to become up there. He's trying to get up with the big leagues you're not going to be no Kelsey, but I'll tell you this. If you can make those catches count, trust me, it'll work. Minimize the mistakes. If you're going to establish the run, get the run going, and then, like you said, Kyle, mix in a little bit of a package, slant passes, doing some gadget play. Well, I wouldn't say gadget, but more of a look at the packages that you're going to be bringing in. Because Stephon Diggs has not really been doing good in the playoffs, which, okay, that's fine, because now once they start slipping, he's going to come out of nowhere, and he's still an elite wide receiver. But this is now where the other guys are going to start stepping up. So this is going to be an interesting game here. So, Driston, who are you taking?
I am going to go with the Bills. Got them on this one.
You're just saying that because you don't want to see Cincinnati. I'm going to take the Bengals to win this game.
I'm going to take the Bills.
Oh, this is tough. Well, this is real tough. I'm persuaded by the blue and red. I just feel that momentum is going their way. There's just something different about the Bills this year. I think they've been there, done that, and they know already. I know they're thinking, you know what? Okay, after we take care of this game, day and night, we're going to look at the Chiefs. That's what it looks like the stars are aligning to be the Bills and the Chiefs. And, and that's a good thing that they're going to do it in a neutral site because, technically the Bills should have had it since they won that head-to-head. But it's okay. It is what it is, and I like what Driston told me about. He doesn't care. Coach Reed don't care. He'll play. Andy Reid don't care.
Oh, yeah. Just play football, man. Doesn't matter where.
But he needs a cheeseburger. He said something about who said that? Someone told me. He said, I don't care if it's a McDonald's parking lot.
Yeah.
We'll play. Just hand me the cheeseburger. All right. So we're going to go against one of the most intriguing games. This is going to be one of the best games, I believe, besides the Cincinnati and Buffalo game. This is going to be it. This brings back classic memories, the 80s, the 90s, and now we got to hear again. I think this is a rematch from last year's playoff game. Yes, it was, because the 49ers defeated Dallas at Dallas. We have the San Francisco 49ers going against the Dallas Cowboys. Both prominent, prestige, respectable teams, both with 5 Super Bowls each. Let's go ahead. Let's break it down. On the San Francisco side, what do you got, Driston? What is their ingredients for this, for them to win against Dallas?
Oh, man. Ingredients, do whatever they want. Dallas has a tremendous defense, but San Francisco has a tremendous offense, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. Of course, you got Christian McCaffrey. It doesn't matter. He can run it. He's a pass catcher. He's great. They got that elite tight end. Brock Purdy's really stepped up. As a rookie, he's doing so great. He's looked like he's been doing this for years already in the league. And, of course, you got Samuel. He had a great game last week, over 100 yards, Congrats for him because I feel like he's been slacking the past couple of weeks, and he had a really standout game. But Offensively, they're just gonna have to stop that pass rush. Of course, Micah Parsons is a dangerous man. I think he's a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year. He's just so tremendous, and he makes a big impact on the pressures, and he's so much, man. One-man army right there. So I feel like if they can really stop Parsons, their receivers are good enough, in my opinion, to burn Diggs and that secondary. So whether he's throwing a slant, go route, whatever, that I feel like the offense is going to find a way around Dallas's defense.
What a season for Brock Purdy, and the best part of it now is the offense was never dumbed down for him. They didn't take things out of the playbook for him, and part of that was because it happened so late in the year that he'd been there. And if you watched him play in college, if you're a fan of the Big 12 and watched Iowa State anytime in the past 4 or 5 years, it shouldn't be much of a surprise to you that he's having the success that he's having. In my opinion, I thought he'd be a good quarterback in the NFL, and he's stepping into the best possible situation. I mean, he's got a great offensive line, top 2 running back in the NFL. He's got George Kittle, top 3 tight end. He's got Deebo Samuel, who's a weapon. Brandon Ayuk is a nice complement to all of them, the way that he plays. And then your defense on the other side is a well-coached unit with a good pass rusher and a good secondary. It's just the best possible situation. San Francisco is a really, really, really good team that's really well coached. So for Brock Purdy, make a play. There's going to be a time in this game where the ball is going to be in his hands in a decisive moment, and you have to make the play, and I think he's going to. They're going to be able to do what they want offensively, but there's going to come, whether it's by a penalty or whatever, where they're going to be put back in a situation to make a play, and he's going to have to make it for them to win the game.
Yeah, I think it'll come down to Brock Purdy's performance, if he lets Micah Parsons get to him and let him be a distraction to him, or if it's going to be a big game for him. Who knows? And then also defensively, I mean, you got to let Nick Bosa, the sack leader for this year, get loose and get after Dak Prescott, make him feel uncomfortable, let that defensive line work like it has all year, but also capitalizing on Dallas's mistakes.
This is very intriguing because the 49ers at first was struggling against Seattle. I mean, DK Metcalf had a great game last week, and DK was torching their secondary. And therefore, that is a blueprint because, remember, the games before, Dallas were struggling. They were struggling. They were making mistakes in Tennessee, and then also they got blown out by the Commanders. But then it just flipped the script. But we're not going to compare defenses because you've got a Tampa Bay defense that's kind of older, kind of skeptical. You got an elite defensive side of San Francisco where they are going to go after Dak. But looking at it offensively, Purdy's got so many weapons. Again, it's like, who do you want to choose in your arsenal? You got CMC. What a great addition to already a great team. And then, of course, breaking down the wide receivers, we know that his favorite target right now is Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk is looking phenomenal and stellar. But Deebo has made his presence known again. But who I really see that's going to help out a lot, I think, is going to be George Kittle. I mean, George Kittle is really a tight end that he can be a menace. You think he's up there blocking, next thing you know, he goes out. When they ask who's a better tight end, again, it brings up to Kittle and Kelsey. To me, Kelsey brings the team aggressiveness, and he brings out that comfort for Mahomes, to be open, and he just creates the plays. George Kittle is more, the word I'm looking for with him is when you need him, he's there, just kind of like that. So the game's in their court right now. They're at home. I was going to say Candlestick Park, but that's the old stadium. But Levi Stadium, I believe it's Levi. Santa Clara is going to get ready because, again, this is a big rivalry match. And, shout out to our San Francisco Niner fans. We got Patrick in the house, a San Francisco fan, my friend Marie, and then Willie, and then, of course, Dristan's significant other. She's big Niners fan. So yep. It's going to be a great game. But now let's move on over to America's team, Dallas. Dristan, what does Dallas need to do to beat San Francisco?
They just need to get past that San Francisco defense if they can. I think they'll put up a good fight, but it's going to be tough, man. Because here I see, an amazing defense against, an offense who's hot or not. I see, and then Dallas, who has another top 2 defense probably against, one of the top offenses. And that's the reason I'm choosing San Francisco this week, because I feel like San Francisco has the better offense and the better defense coming in. They're at home. So the thing is with Pollard back, he did a really good, rushing. He's great for them and controlling the clock and everything. But I feel like it depends on how Dak does, because Dak has his games. He looks great and he does so good. And then other times he's just, what are you doing? How are you in the NFL? So it really comes down on how he's feeling this week, I guess. But I don't really see him doing much because, yes, last week they did get beat deep. San Francisco did. But that was against DK, which I think was the size and like that speed. And this week it's really focusing on CD, who doesn't have that size, but he is fast. I don't think they're going to get beat deep this week defensively. It's going to be tough. But they just need to get past that defense. I don't know how they're going to do it.
This Cowboys team will go as far as Dak will take them. The big thing last week is he took care of the ball. Now, granted, this Buccaneers team had regressed in nearly all statistical categories, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, and their run defense was horrendous. And that won't be the case for San Francisco, who's very well rested, I might add. They had a home playoff game last Saturday that was over before like 6 o'clock their time, and they've just been game planning for this since then. CeeDee Lamb is a much more polished route runner than DK Metcalf. Michael Gallup for the Cowboys will do more of what DK does, where he just gets deep with his speed, but Gallup doesn't have the size or the physicality that DK does. So they're just going to – Mike McCarthy's going to have to pull out all the stops. Kellen Moore, Mike McCarthy, whatever gadget plays, whatever trick plays, whatever you've got to put your best foot forward this week and hope Dak can take care of things. And it would help if Brett Maher would make some extra points, ideally for the Cowboys, because that will matter in this game.
I feel like Dallas, they're going to have to make sure that they take care of all the mistakes, limit how many they have compared to San Fran. San Fran, I feel like, will be allowed to have a mistake or two more than Dallas, but Dallas got to capitalize on what they can and make sure that O-line is actually blocking the defense well. I mean, you got to make sure you block Eric Armstead, Nick Bosa, Ken Law, and some other players. But also, like you guys said, depends on how Dak's playing, and he's got to have a top-tier performance against them.
We them boys. No, I'm going to be hearing that. I'm telling you, we're going to be hearing it. Here's the thing with Dallas, especially when you really look at it, Pollard has really shaped up the option for Dallas. I mean, Zeke has already proven he's not that guy that can do that. He's just hand me the ball, and I'm just going to do as much as I can. And Pollard creates plays. We got to witness last week that the tight ends got more involved. So there was a little bit more of a game play there. Now, wide receiver core, CeeDee Lamb is their guy. So we know already they're going to try to lock him down, and then they're going to probably do a little bit of a zone on CeeDee Lamb, and then you got the zone on Gallup. Now, where I'm going to see in this game, besides the field goals, because you got to make the field goals. Come on, guy. Come on, dude. 4 field goals you missed, that all going to count. Trust me, Jerry Jones is going to probably have a stroke, and then you're going to get fired if you don't make it. But here's the way I see Dallas winning this game. It's going to all come down on defense. Given the opportunity to get San Francisco to make mistakes, and then offensively chomping down the clock. Get them out. Because remember, Purdy, okay, he's having a great run, and I'm not taking that away from him. But if Parsons can sniff out what they're doing and create some disguises, and they're going to get after him, this can be Dallas's game. And right now, there's no more excuses. We've been hearing this since 1995. This is it. You guys didn't need OBJ. That's why you picked up T.Y. Hilton for this moment. He's your deep guy. He is your deep guy. He's the guy they're really not going to be counting on too much. They're just thinking, okay, I think they're going to go here. I think T.Y. is going to help out a little bit, but again, it's all going back to Dak. It's going to go back to Dak. Is he going to make mistakes? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? This is it, my guy. This is it. You get past San Francisco, then you await the winner of Philadelphia or New. I mean, it's not going to be an easy game because they're your divisional rivals. That's going to even be, but you'll go in with more confidence if you can do this. So the moment of truth, Dristan, who you taking?
No, I'm taking San Francisco, man.
49ers.
I'm going to take the 49ers.
I'm going to be that guy. I got to stand up. I'm going to pick Dallas.
Ooh.
Man, I'm going to pick Dallas.
Okay.
I think it's going to be. It's going to remind me. You guys are way too young, but I'm going to take you back on memory lane. 1994. Jerry Rice against. No, not against. Deion Sanders played with the 49ers in 94. In 95, it was in the playoffs. It was Deion Sanders against Jerry Rice, and then Dallas ended up winning. But I remember in 94, Steve Young torched that Dallas. Troy Aikman couldn't do anything. Michael Irvin, there was a pass interference call he didn't get. And then, of course, Emmitt Smith. I mean, it was just a great legendary game. You had, Ricky Waters, and then, I mean, it was just a great game. But I love these Dallas and San Francisco games because it's going to be a war zone there. So, all right, that concludes the divisional rounds there. And stay tuned. What we're going to be doing in the AFC NFC Championship, we're going to do a live stream on it, and also we're going to do some giveaways. So everything's going to be live. So you guys, we want to hear your input. We're going to be out there. We're going to be pretty busy trying to respond back, and so we want to be engaged with you guys. Stay tuned on that. All right, for the Driz and Los Players of the Week, Driz, who do you nominate?
So offensively, I nominate Brock Purdy. Man, he played tremendously. So 332 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, so 4 total touchdowns, and then he also had a QB rating of 131.5, which is great. In a playoff game as a rookie, with all that pressure on your shoulders, he played great. He had a really great game.
I'm going to nominate Brock Purdy as well. Just the young fella coming in there, playing a heck of a game, trailing at halftime, and then not only taking the lead but pulling away, way to keep the pedal down.
I'll give it to Brock Purdy, too.
I'm going to take Trevor Lawrence. I just like the way, and kudos to Brock Purdy. What a great game that he played as well. But Trevor Lawrence, I liked how he just, with the crowd getting in there. This was such a key game for them, and now they're going to have a big task ahead going to Arrowhead, so you're not going to have the crowd with you on this one. But I'm going to nominate him for setting the footsteps going forward. Even if they lose to Kansas City, if that's the case, they have the formula now. Because now Tennessee, the Texans, the Colts, they're going to have to play from behind. So this could be Jacksonville's division for the moment given. So now on the defensive side, who are you taking, Dristan, for your nomination?
I'm going to go with just the entire Jags defense. Because that second half they played, allowing the Chargers to only 3 points, man, they're the reason that they were able to make a comeback against such a big deficit, man. So that second half they played great, man. You just love to see it.
I see your Jags defense, and I raise you a Cowboys defense that put the nail in the coffin on Tom Brady as a Buccaneer, most likely. Say what you want about the Buccaneers' offense or whatever, how they're regressing. They aren't the same as they were. Tom Brady's still Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. And holding him to that amount of points is impressive. It doesn't matter when it happens, especially when you got torched by him in the first week of the season. So my nomination would be the Cowboys' defense.
Yeah, I'll also go Cowboys defense here. Only give up 6 points to the Bucs and Tom Brady in playoffs. So, got to go Dallas.
I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to give it to the Giants defense. The Giants, what a great job getting Kirk Cousins not playing really comfortable. When there was a moment there, they shut down Jay Jettis. He was insignificant. Yep. And then Thielen didn't do anything. And literally it was just and I've said this on this show plenty of times. KJ Osborne, he's a very quiet wide receiver. I don't know why they don't give him his respect where it is. The thing is Thielen is getting older. Osborne's still young, and they're still stuck with Kirk Cousins. But if you're going to stick with him, then get a better line to protect. And defensively, they're going to have to go in. They're going to have to pick up some more pieces. Kendrick's a great defensive lineman. They're a great team, but it's just defensively this year it showed they couldn't hang. They weren't ready for the playoffs. So let's move on over to our favorite show. Who's hot? And
Who's not?
All right, Tristan, who is hot?
Jacksonville. Beating the Chargers, who aren't a bad team, man. I'll give them that. I think they're an overrated team, but they're not bad, right? Okay, so they had a pretty good season, and they had that good first half. And then Trevor Lawrence, for throwing 4 picks in the first half to come back and play the way he did, I think it just shows a lot about him. And then he went to Waffle House after dinner, or he went to Waffle House for dinner after the game, just showing love to his community and everything. Good for Jacksonville. I'm so happy for them. They're good. I'm so happy they beat the Chargers.
San Francisco has won this win last weekend brought them to 11 or 12 or something. That is the definition of who's hot right now. They just seem like they can't lose no matter what situation they get put in.
Give me the Giants. They went into Minnesota, took control of them, and then it's going on to Philly.
I'm going to take the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they're on a roll here, and the thing is they're finding ways to win. Now, if they could just eliminate a little bit of their key mistakes. The thing is, Josh Allen, we're witnessing something very unique in Josh Allen, and he's got the hungry eyes. I'm telling you. The guy, there's just something about him that he's doing that he wants to win. And I think Stephon Diggs, third time's a charm. He's been into an AFC championship. He's been in a NFC championship, and he's 0 for 2. I think he is tired of it, and this is why he went to Buffalo, because he had faith in Josh Allen. So I'm going to give it to the Buffalo Bills. Well, that concludes, you guys, our show for today. Stay tuned to the shows. We are still diving into the NCAA basketball. We're also going to do our NBA. And then don't forget, we're going to do our live stream when we do our NFC and AFC championship games. So any shout-outs, Tristan, before we go?
Shout out to you guys. It's always fun coming on the show and talking football.
Shout out to you guys. It's nice to be back. It's always a good time.
Shout out to you, Carlos, Eric. Thanks for having me. And shout out to Jeff, big Giants fan.
I want to give a quick shout out to some people that have made some changes. We're not going to put the business all out there, but let's go ahead. Let's give a quick shout out to the Brooks family. Moving on, happy trails. I wish you nothing but the best on your new endeavors. Also, shout out to Kyle and Tristan for winning the Fantasy Football League. That's kind of cool.
Yes,
You guys taking care of business there. Also, I want to give a shout out to my niece starting school for nursing. So keep it going. Stay focused on the books, not the guys. And also to the crew for the work and the things that they do. I much appreciated. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we look forward to hearing from you guys in the NFC AFC Championship. We're out.